This is 7 News.
Tonight, doubts over Chapman Corbys' bail as her boyfriend faces jail over drugs. An Australian first, a WA man who bought a suicide drug learns his fate. A winter blast for Perth and the southwest, and a driver almost swept away. And the round that shapes the finals, the fortunes of the Eagles and Dockers.
From the studios of 7 Perth, Susannah Carr.
Good evening. Chapman Corbys has only been out of prison for 6 months, but her freedom could be in jeopardy following the arrest of her boyfriend on drugs charges. Ben Panangian faces up to 12 years in a Bali jail for possessing marijuana. Legal experts believe Corbys' association could be enough to force a review of her parole.
The man wearing a striped balaclava in the foreground is believed to be Chapman Corbys' boyfriend, wearing number 99 and identified only as BPS when he was arrested a week ago. It stands for Bernard Panangian Simanjuntak, the 32-year-old's better known as Ben Panangian. He's been dating Corby since they met in Bali's Kerabakan prison after both were convicted of drug offences. They were last spotted together in these photos taken in May, looking close at a shop in Kuta.
Perang melawan narkoba tetap terus dilaksanakan.
Police say Panangian was caught with 2 packages of marijuana on August 20. Officers allegedly found more of the drug during a raid on his house, the total amount almost 9 grams. If convicted, he faces up to 12 years jail. International law experts say Corby could also be in trouble.
It immediately will cast a shadow over whether she's complying with her parole conditions.
Corby must stay away from drugs and crime under her conditions of release. The parole board says she'll now be warned and come under tighter supervision. From the Corby family's lawyer.
Any reaction from the family to the arrest of Chapman's boyfriend in Bali?
I have no knowledge of that, I'm sorry.
Alex Hart, 7 News.
In an Australian first, an Albany man has avoided jail after being convicted of buying the illegal suicide drug Nembutal. Rupert Ward isn't sick, but says he bought it in case he ever faced a painful death. Rob Scott reports from Albany.
Just on that side
I should have my helmet on.
Rupert Ward is a man who loves waking up every morning.
If I had a chance to live forever, I would grab it.
The Albany pensioner is fit and healthy. For him, buying the euthanasia drug Nembutal wasn't about ending his life. It was about being prepared for what might happen.
The thought of dying a long, withdrawn, agonising death is pretty scary.
But you're not sick or anything, are you?
Oh, no, not at all. No, this is the idea. You get it all sorted beforehand.
He pleaded guilty to possessing about 6 grams of the drug in powder form, which he ordered over the internet from China and then buried in his backyard. It's the first prosecution of its kind in Australia. Today, the 68-year-old was fined $1,400 for the Nembutal and given a spent conviction.
I'll just have to pay the fine off out of my pension over time.
Ending up in a cemetery is something Mr. Ward wanted to avoid at all costs, which is why getting that spent conviction was so important, because he says without it, he may not have been allowed to travel to the United States, where he wants to be cryonically preserved.
What have you got to lose by being vitrified? I mean, who knows? It'll be great. In the future, it'll be great.
And live to Rob Scott in Albany now. And Rob, despite the fine, Rupert Ward hasn't given up on euthanasia.
No, sir, he says he won't be ordering any more Nembutal, but he has already placed an order for a so-called suicide kit from Dr. Philip Nitschke, a product which uses nitrogen gas to bring about death. He also says that Dr. Nitschke's Exit International Foundation has offered to pay the fine he received today for him. But Dr. Nitschke himself is under increasing pressure after his medical licence was suspended after he admitted to supporting a 45-year-old Perth man end his life, despite the fact that he wasn't suffering from a terminal illness. Sue?
Thanks, Rob. Parts of Perth and the southwest have been drenched by what could be winter's last deluge. Homes were spared any significant damage, but the downpour caused problems on our roads, and at least one driver was forced to abandon his vehicle in the water.
You can't see it, but under this water is a bridge. It's the only way in and out of this Donnybrook family home. The driver got stuck, abandoned his car. When he turned around, the current had pushed it over. The southwest town has copped the brunt of today's wet weather, more than 100 millimetres. The Preston River burst its banks.
It's just incredible. I've never Never seen it like this.
A drenching 2 for Perth. 28.6 millimetres at Jandakot. Carnet recorded just under that, 28. And in the CBD, 12.2 mils.
While it felt like we had a lot of rain today, we're still well below the average for August of 133 millimetres. So far this month, we've had less than half that.
It's been about the 7th or 8th driest August up to this point, but this rain is very, very welcome.
Scattered showers are expected across the weekend, clearing up for the first day of spring on Monday. Kate Smithers, 7 News.
Tony Abbott has described the Middle East as a witch's brew of complexity and danger as extremists from the Islamic State released another brutal video. His comments follow Barack Obama's stunning revelation that the US still does not have a strategy to tackle the ISIS threat.
A death march in the Syrian desert. Stripped of their clothes and their dignity, these 150 Syrian soldiers are soon after stripped of their lives. Another massacre at the hands of ISIS. As US President Barack Obama makes a surprising admission, there is still no plan to defeat the Islamic State fighters.
I don't want to put the cart before the horse. We don't have a strategy yet.
Prime Minister Tony Abbott suggested any plan would need the agreement of incoming Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi. He doesn't take power for another 12 days. And intervening in Syria is even more problematic. Western nations attack the legitimacy of the Assad regime, accused of slaughtering its own people, only to see its soldiers slaughtered by ISIS.
We have to accept that the Middle East is a witch's brew of complexity and danger.
Labor has pledged its support.
There is no difference between myself and Tony Abbott about the importance of dealing with the IS or the Islamic State menace.
But the Greens do differ.
It is not good enough for the Prime Minister to just talk up barbaric images in order to justify following the United States.
As ISIS releases these images from a training camp with a chilling warning from the next generation of fighters. Mark Riley, 7 News.
There's a warning to parents and children in Perth's north tonight after a predator scare near a primary school. Amelia Brune is in Woodvale. And Amelia, what happened?
Well, so a 12-year-old boy was approached here on Trappers Drive yesterday as he walked home from school. It was 3:30 in the afternoon. He says a white van pulled up, a man got out and chased him. Luckily, he managed to escape. Now, this incident has been reported to police. Joondalup detectives are investigating. Luckily, the boy managed to get a pretty good look at the wanted man. He's described as Caucasian, about 30 years old, 180 centimetres tall with a stocky build. He was wearing navy track pants, a black hoodie and sunglasses. Letters have been sent home to parents at nearby schools warning them about this scare, and police are on standby to take calls from anyone who can help catch this wanted man. So.
Thanks, Amelia. You can expect to see more masked crusaders trying to warn Perth drivers about speed cameras. The self-described revenue raiser Resistance aims to stop drivers getting fined. And as Samantha Jolly reports, the campaign has triggered a wave of copycats.
This picture was taken today in Busselton. Hundreds of West Aussies are putting up their hands to join Perth's masked camera crusaders. The group has even gained national attention.
Joe, where did you get the idea to do this?
The man behind the mask says he's a bit overwhelmed by it all. Why won't you take off your mask?
Because the mask is, it's not about me. I don't want people to know who I am. Not because I'm scared or anything. It's just that I don't want people to follow me. I want them to follow the movement.
Now, revenue raiser Resistance want the critics to know they aren't against all speed cameras, and they in fact specifically support handheld radars and the fines they generate. They also won't protest cameras that are placed outside schools or near hospitals.
We don't want them to be hidden on the side of the road. We don't want them to be waiting at the bottom of a hill.
Last year alone, almost 900,000 West Aussies were nabbed by a camera. Road safety experts say it's the best way to keep motorists alive.
The government advertises where the speed cameras will be. We think we give people fair warning that speed cameras are in their area, and it's really meant to be a reminder to drive at the speed limit.
Samantha Jolly, 7 News.
There are fewer people catching Perth trains. Ticket sales have dropped in the past financial year by more than 2 million passengers, the biggest fall in a decade. And despite volatile petrol prices and increased congestion on our roads, critics say rising costs mean commuters have little incentive to catch public transport.
Stirling Station at 9 a.m. Not exactly bustling, but commuters we spoke to say any earlier and it's a nightmare.
Peak hour is chockers. You can't move.
Last financial year, the number of rail commuters dropped by more than 2 million. Fremantle and Armidale lines, the worst affected.
It's because of a cumulative increase in public transport fares, of which paid parking is just a component.
With the recent 4% fare increase plus the $2 a day parking, a train from Mandurah to the city now costs more than $100 a week, including rego, petrol on a 4-cylinder car, third-party insurance plus city parking. Travelling from Mandurah to Perth by car costs $228 a week.
The increases are almost always built around CPI. And there's then an element of rounding.
The PTA says one of the factors is these figures were recorded during Perth's biggest ever rail shutdown in July and August last year as part of Perth's CityLink project. It also blames an economic downturn but says this year numbers are improving. And after a 2-week closure, trains will resume from Fremantle on Monday. The rail bridge repaired after it was hit by a cargo ship caught out by strong winds. Tracy Moran, 7 News.
First it was Qantas, now Virgin has announced a financial loss, although it wasn't anywhere near as big as the Flying Kangaroo. That bad news for airlines could be good for passengers, with aviation experts predicting cheap seats are here to stay.
After waging an airfare war with Qantas, today Virgin Australia revealed how much it's been bleeding.
The last 12 months have been the most challenging in aviation history in Australia.
Competition, cautious consumers and the carbon tax all added to the airline's woes. Its after-tax loss tripled to $356 million. The Australian operation lost $59 million, international $67 million, and its share in budget carrier Tiger Air $46 million. Virgin CEO says certain fares may need to rise.
Obviously, in some market segments, they probably will.
I think we're going to see an end to crazy fares. I don't ever see an end to really, really good value fares.
With Virgin intent on luring more passengers from the Flying Kangaroo as the two compete from business class to the cheap seats. Virgin is selling 35% of its Velocity frequent flyer program and wants to boost membership from 4.5 million to more than 7 million within 3 years. Having got travellers' attention, it now wants their loyalty. Paul Kadak, 7 News.
Wildlife officers have freed a 10-tonne whale tangled in rope off WA. The 8-metre humpback was spotted on Sunday, about 20 nautical miles off Geraldton. Its tail had become wrapped in a rope attached to 2 large buoys. It was a delicate 30-minute operation to cut the whale free.
Yeah, it's good, mate.
The whale swam away, tired but in good health. Now to the celebrity wedding almost a decade in the making. After years of will they or won't they, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt have finally said, I do. And they managed to pull it off without the whole world finding out, until now.
For two Hollywood heavyweights like Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, this was a very low-key way to make a very big statement. A wedding ring on Brad's finger, proof the celebrity power couple is now a married couple. After 9 years together and 6 kids, Brad and Angelina tied the knot before a handful of family and friends last weekend at their chateau in the south of France.
Can you believe it? They pulled off the ultimate surprise.
Not an easy task for two of the world's most photographed people.
We've talked to the kids about it for fun, and it's like this fun thing we're planning for one day.
Fun Angelina's dad, John Voight, missed. He wasn't invited. Angelina wore a traditional white wedding dress, Brad a cream suit. Their 2 eldest sons, Pax and Maddox, walked mum down the aisle. Vivian and Zahara acted as flower girls, and Shiloh and Knox were ring bearers. A love story that began almost a decade ago. Ellie Southwood, 7 News.
A TV celebrity in hospital, find out who next. Plus, a Stirling man's $3.5 million gift to help FIFO families. And why Ukraine claims it's being invaded by Russia. In Seven's Money Watch, the stock market has closed flat as weaker iron ore prices and falls by the retail giants were offset by gains in other sectors. Virgin Australia lifted 1 cent to 41.5 cents despite an annual loss of $356 million. 1 Australian dollar is buying 93 US cents and 10,949 Indonesian rupiah. A teenage girl has been indecently assaulted by a man in Carnarvon. This is the man police are looking for. Police say the 17-year-old victim was walking along Carnarvon Road when he asked to use her mobile phone. When she refused, he became abusive, grabbed her on the arm and indecently assaulted her. It happened almost 3 weeks ago. Police say the man had this distinctive tattoo on his right forearm. Anyone who recognises him should call Crime Stoppers. At the height of the boom, the FIFO lifestyle sounded like it provided a path to wealth and happiness. But we're learning now that it can also lead to depression and how it can be tough on those at home, including children. As Rebecca O'Donovan reports, one very generous man is trying to help with an amazing donation.
Sue is a mum of 2 with a FIFO husband. She knows how much pressure it can put on families.
You don't get that quality time because they're only home for just such a short period.
Hoping to help is Perth man Anthony Constantino, who comes from a family of FIFO workers. He wants to turn his family's old market garden in Stirling into a FIFO family centre.
If the child maybe is struggling that little bit, they're offered the support that they need.
In February last year, more than 250,000 Australians were employed in the mining industry. Almost a quarter were from Perth. In the past year, 9 FIFO workers have taken their own lives. One of those was 25-year-old Reece Connor. Now, a WA parliamentary committee will investigate the cause. The FIFO Family Centre will be 3 stories high, a place where families can bring their kids for activities, counselling and socialising.
You have a situation where the children have a problem, but they don't know how to express themselves.
Before plans can be finalised, Anthony is hoping at least 10,000 FIFO families will fill out an online survey in order to pinpoint the exact services which are needed the most.
The centre will cost about $10 million to set up. Anthony is hoping mining companies will fund the project. Rebecca O'Donovan, 7 News.
The crisis in Ukraine has entered a dangerous new phase. Spy satellites have revealed about 1,000 Russian troops and tanks moving across the border south of rebel-held Donetsk and the MH17 crash site. Ukraine had retaken about a third of separatist-held territory, then suddenly faced a fierce counterattack it says only Russia could mount. The US called for more sanctions but has ruled out taking military action to solve the Ukrainian problem. Comedian Joan Rivers is recovering in hospital after suffering a heart attack while undergoing throat surgery in New York. The 81-year-old was having an operation on her vocal cords when she stopped breathing. Doctors say her condition has stabilised. Time now for Friday Night Sport with Adrian Barrett, and what a weekend for our AFL teams, Barra.
So it's very exciting. The Dockers have a top 4 shootout against the Power, while the Eagles, can they snatch an unexpected finals spot? As they head to the Gold Coast, West Coast sweat on other results. And no fear as Aussie Nick Kyrgios, his dream run continues. Fremantle star Hayden Ballantyne says the Dockers' famous pressure game is back to its best and could be the key to victory in tomorrow's top 4 showdown with Port Adelaide. The return of Ballantyne and Michael Walters coinciding with a return to top form for Freo. So worried at Port about Freo's dynamic duo, they have promoted pacey rookie defender Jarman Impey, whose main claim to fame is holding Hayden Ballantyne goalless last time the 2 teams met.
He did play well on Ballantyne last time. Doesn't guarantee you much though. It's a big show of faith in the young fella, I reckon, to say let's come in and have a go at it. And I really do trust Jarman. He'll give his absolute best.
But Ballantyne warns Freo's much-feared pressure game is back.
I think our forward pressure in the past probably 3 weeks has been unreal. Our tackling, chasing, harassing, and just giving the opposition no space has been really good. And I think that's gone a long way to getting the ball turned over and getting some more scoring opportunities.
Port Adelaide confident they can match it with the Dockers. The glittering prize a double chance in September.
We understand that playing over in Perth's certainly one of the toughest trips you can go on at the moment. But it's one that we've still got enough confidence about going over there and saying that we can actually go hard against them and give ourselves a great chance.
Hinkley adding he can't wait to unleash in-form ruckman Matthew Loeb on Freo giant Aaron Sandilands.
Loeb's is in pretty good form himself, and he wasn't there last time when we played against him, so we look forward to seeing what he can actually do up against, what we consider one of the best rucks in the comp.
West Coast Eagles coach Adam Simpson says his side is bracing for an emotional weekend of footy. The Eagles will get together and watch Collingwood tackle Hawthorn tonight, and then Richmond take on Sydney tomorrow. If either the Pies or the Tigers win, it's season over for West Coast.
In a perfect world, Adam Simpson's side wouldn't be sweating on other results to play finals, but instead they face a nervous weekend in front of the TV.
It's just going to be a mixed emotional weekend, I suppose. Starts tonight for us, and we can't control any of these things, but we're human, so we'll be watching the games.
West Coast need Hawthorn and Sydney to beat Collingwood and Richmond. Then they'll need to do their part, beating the Suns on Sunday. Scott Selwood is back in the side for the first time since round 12 and says he's keen to make up for his own disappointing season.
I thought I was playing really poor footy, so I didn't think I was contributing to the team the way I wanted to. So getting my ankle better and trying to contribute back the way I know I can was the most important thing.
The vice-captain has put on 4 kilos of muscle while on the sidelines.
He does look bigger and stronger, and that's what we're heading towards with our, especially our midfielders. But, the challenge is just to maintain your endurance and your speed and carry a bit of size.
The Tiger Army is up in full force. Hundreds of Richmond fans travelling to Sydney for tomorrow night's blockbuster.
We know that we're going to win and look forward to next week well and truly.
Look out, we're coming. The Tigers are on their way.
Go Tigers! Ryan Daniels, 7 News.
And our own Casey Dellacqua has joined teenage tennis star Nick Kyrgios in winning through to the third round of the US Open. Kyrgios had his full array of power shots on display in a straight sets win over Italian Andrea Seppi. The 19-year-old hurt his knee in a fall, but it was only a brief setback. Kyrgios closed out the match with his 22nd ace. But former champ Sam Stosur is out, blowing 2 match points in her defeat. The Collingwood Hawthorn game is on live right now over on 7 Mate, followed by the Footy Fix with Eagle Matt Rosa. That's Friday Sport. Now here's Sue.
Thanks, Barra. After a very wet day, is there more to come? The weekend weather is next.
Now, Fuel Watch. Perth's petrol prices. Brought to you by Fuel Watch and 7 News.
Hi there, Blake Johnson with you. It's been a very wet day for the southwest corner of the state. We could still be in for a storm tonight, but the worst of the weather should be done by about 2 a.m. The showers will continue across the weekend. Right now in the city, it's 17.1 and the wind is from the west at 19 kilometres an hour. Our max for today was 22.3. We reached it at 11 this morning. The low was 14.3. We'll check rainfall tonight. Here's the metro area. Serpentine had the heaviest falls of 28 millimetres, Fremantle 11, Mandurah had 10 millimetres, Kalamunda 9, Rottnest 5. Around the state today, it was fine and sunny in Port Hedland and Karratha. The hot spot was Ayr, a top of 35. For the southwest, lots of rain. Bunbury, about 20 millimetres today, Albany 8. Let's take a look at the forecast for country areas tomorrow. The showers will continue in the south and out in the goldfields. Otherwise, it's a sunny day for Broome and Exmouth. From the satellite, there's that bad weather down there. From today, it's moving towards the east, and it's a cold front that's given us all the rain. There's another weaker cold front coming our way over the weekend. A foggy start in Melbourne tomorrow, but clearing after that. Showers in Sydney and Cairns. There'll be a westerly wind on the water tomorrow. It'll turn south-southwesterly before dawn, seas around 1 metre. Here's the forecast for Perth. We'll see more rain into the evening and the small chance of a storm tonight. It'll ease off during the night, but will stay wet tomorrow. It'll be a foggy start to the day in some areas, a top of 19. Sunday, a shower or two clearing. Monday, the sun returns. Graham and Elaine Dushka have notched up 50 years of marriage today. Jenny and Jeff Smith from Goomalling have got 60 years. Well done, guys. Here's Sue.
Thanks, Blake. That's all from the newsroom for now. Samantha Jolly will be with you tomorrow night. Now here's Monica with Today Tonight.